What's going on, guys? This is Lurkin here from Mobalytics, and today I'm coming at you with a Season 8 tier list for Sorcerer, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a patch note review. I'm just going to give you a lay of the land for how it's going to look for next season. Lightning Spear will still be king, and nothing's really going to dethrone it. So Lightning Spear is still going to be the fastest build in the game, one of the strongest builds in the game due to its uncapped scaling, its ability to get a one-cast teleport evade, just so fast once you get your gear really dialed in. It sucks at bossing, but with little asterisks, because bosses really aren't that hard, and it's going to melt all the Giga, Tormented, Uber, whatever they're called, bosses. I think burning builds are going to be really strong. I will be building Meteor as a burning build now, but I think they're a little slow and clunky, so I don't know if people really want to play them when they could just play Spear, which will probably just be stronger overall and faster. And then you get into some stuff that's almost as fast or as fast as Spear, and they just play a little different. They can be a little bit more fun, more hands-on, and I give that to Chain Lightning and Fireball. Fireball's still amazing at bossing, it still has its corridor issues, and Chain Lightning's looking really strong after some buffs to Axial Conduit, giving it more damage and Chain Lightning scaling, and just how strong some of the on-hit, lucky hit chance stuff is going to be. Go over that later. Ball Lightning it's okay. I think it's not as strong as Chain Lightning or Fireball. I think Stormhorn's really strong. I think Oaken's is more fun to play. I flip-flopped, but it needs a little bit of love, but I think it's definitely passable for Torment 4 and leveling up all your glyphs. I think Blizzard got some pretty insane buffs, but in the grand scheme of thing, it's very slow. It takes 12 seconds to fully ramp up its damage, so it has some of the same issues that some of the damage over time builds, because it takes so long to ramp up its damage. It may as well be a dot. It just happens to deal ice spike damage, direct damage. This is where off meta begins. You may start to see some difficulty leveling up your glyphs to 100. We'll see. I know Ice Shards got the new unique, and we're really excited for it. I don't think it's strong enough. It got a unique in a slot that was occupied by a 60% damage helmet, Air of Perdition. 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, 2 steps forwards sort of scenario with it. But it did get, piercing cold. It got buffs. It's stronger. But I just don't know if it got enough to, bring it up to the rest of this shit. So that's where I'm at with that. Charge Bolts is going to be okay, but I'm done building Charge Bolts for Charge Bolts damage. It is a pure on-hit damage build. I think Charge Bolt's place in the meta is as a easier on mana Lightning Spear build, because Lightning Spear likes to use Ball Lightning as its generator, but you can also use Charge Bolts as the generator, and it's easier on mana. And then I think it's also an easier on mana on hit build with like not Frostburns, but with Azurewrath and lightning damage tempers, so you sort of just abuse its really high lucky hit chance, etc. There's a new build on the block using one of the boss powers. It's Alex Talons. It does lightning damage over time called sparking damage, and ironically enough, I'm going to use Spark to proc it, so we'll see how that ends up. It looks a little fun. Frozen Orb, if you build it as a pure Frozen Orb damage build, I think it's still going to be in the dumps, but if you build it as like a starter Lightning Spear build with splintering on a staff, it approaches B tier, A tier territory just because of how strong splintering is. And then Hydra is garbage. Lightning Spear is still king. As you know, we get 200% critical strike damage bonus scaling. That equates to 72 times damage here. Lightning Spear is still king, and they even improved the targeting for it. It will now attempt to prioritize closer enemies, so it should help the bossing a lot. And they just keep making this fucking thing better. And I'm all right with it. We have something. There's always Lightning Spear, but I just wish other stuff would get as good. And then there's a Beastmaster training power where the minor modifier gives us, this text doesn't say it, but it's 150% damage, so it's a lot. Burn builds are strong. In the PTR, we saw combustion upwards of 850%, but we think there were some bugs with that, so we'll see what it ends up, but you should get around 650, 700, something like that, if that's all fixed, which is still a lot. And Dario Flaming Skull, the power that everyone saw in the PTR, it got nerfed into the into the ground, but you're still going to get 21% burning. You're still going to get 21% damage over time with it. So it's going to be good in a lot of builds. But the damage of the main got nerfed, and the damage of the modifier doesn't have that whole extra burn damage anymore. So it's literally just an aspect now. It's just a burn damage multi. Yeah, so all the burn builds are really strong. They're just kind of slow, and they aren't the best to play. Frost builds are up, but they're not up to S tier. Avalanche got reworked. It used to be this bullshit lucky hit, single cast, yada yada. There's a lot of words here, but now it's Frost skills get this 60% damage all the time, and the 25% more against vulnerable enemies. Ice spikes too counts as a frost skill, and they have 30% mana cost reduction. This is just all the time, always occurring. And then the new aspect of Frozen Memories got reworked. It's not a new aspect, but it got reworked. It now gives an additional 30% mana cost. So 30 plus 30 is 60. It's additive with it, so it's 60% MCR. It's not going to take you from 30 to 40% or 30 to 38%. It's going to give you another plus 30, and then the math works out to it's going to give you 27% damage. So like frost builds are going to be pretty good. You should be able to level with them once you get Avalanche and you get Frozen Memories. I believe Frozen Memories is codexable, so frost builds are viable now, leveling. And the Glacial aspect now got rank scaling. It's going to scale with the ranks to Blizzard. So 10 ranks, 2x damage, 20, 3x, 30, 4x. The spread. Now we're going to talk about Ale of Verglas, which is the new disappointing Ice Shard unique. Sorry, devs. Yo, I'm sorry. You made it a helmet. What do you want? What do you want me to say? They fixed the spread a little bit. The spread was pretty terrible, and it made it worse to play. Shit, just. But they changed the max life here to cooldown, so it should be a little bit stronger. I think all frost builds are really missing is some uncapped vulnerable damage bonus scaling in Avalanche, and they will be S tier. All right. Speed farmers rejoice. The Enchantment Master Legendary node has been buffed. So in the PTR, we saw that for each equipped enchantment, we got 30% increased damage with their main element. So before, if we had Shock and Frost, it was 30 and 30. Or if we had Shock and Shock, it was 30 and 30. To total 60 lightning damage. But now the way that they've changed it is you get 40% per element. And then if you have the same element twice, you get 20 for the second one. So if you have Shock and Ice, see, we get 40 lightning, 40 cold. And if we have Shock and Shock, we get 40 lightning and then another 20 lightning for the second. And that's really awesome considering we have this teleport Iceblade enchant meta. So this will be very good on all the Shock and all the Frost builds, because it's not too big of a loss to, say, lose a 50% board to go down to a 40% board, or even a 60% board down to a 40% board, because of just how good the additive is on the Enchantment Master board. There's a lot of non-physical damage to elites, attack speed, all res, DR. It's a good board. For leveling, I'm gonna have all my leveling builds. I'll have these two linked because these two are done. But I'm really looking forward to this minor boss power, Alex Talons. Casting a basic skill applies a certain percent of your weapon damage, sparking damage over 4 seconds. This is a lightning damage over time. I'm going to use Spark to apply said sparking damage. This boss power should be really easy to get because it's in that main first area where all the seasonal area where all the new boss, there's this little boss area, whatever. Go get it. It should be easy. And then Blizzard's going to be really strong because, if you use Avalanche with Frozen Memories, you will have 60% mana cost reduction. You can get some really big Blizzard size, and then I'm going to scale the cold dot here. I'm not going to put the ice spike. I'm not going to worry about having to keep finding or trying to find new ice spike aspects. I'm just going to scale the Blizzard dot and play it like a firewall build with big area, and it's going to be fun to play. There's going to be some stuff with on-hit builds. We have a lot of good skills with some lucky hit chance. Ice Shards, Chain Lightning, Charge Bolts, Teleport. Your evade teleports, you can't forget about those. I wouldn't do a teleport-only build, but just, you're weaving in the teleports, you're going to get some lucky hits. Once we put on Fist of Fate, we can get some really good LHC out of these. And look at this value on Azurewrath. They got buffed up to 18,225. It's massive. I really hope this stays because it makes it viable. you know, I'm going to use this on charge bolts and chain lightning because I think you can get so much damage and value out of it. And then it's going to freeze everything for you too. And then we also have this lightning damage temper that can go on your focus to pair with it. So, you know, picture you have your axial conduits, your Azurewrath, and then you have this other lightning damage temper. And then you have the Fists of Fate, giving you a much higher proc chance of these lucky hit affixes. The big question here too is, are these still bugged in scaling with attack speed? If you had 100% attack speed, you would double this lightning damage value. And next, we're going to move on to sort of like pit pusher woes. So pit pushing is probably still going to be done on spear. They've changed some of the runes so that you can't snapshot the overpower, but we're pretty sure, and it's been voiced, that you can still snapshot an overpower if you cast. Say you cast a lightning spear and you happen to get that 3% overpower chance that just exists for every single cast. You can snapshot and lock that in. So you're just, you know, you're going to load into a pit 33 times and try and fish for an overpower and then run it. And then I think a lot of pit pushing builds will end up running Greater Fireball. I'm really not going to bother with this because I don't care. But right here, when a non-boss enemy takes this damage, while below 25% life, they're instantly killed. This is an execute for anyone below 25% life. So you equip this on the skill bar, hit a bunch of enemies, a pack, group them up, get them low. Once they're below 25, hit them with one fireball, insta delete and nuke. And this is just some miscellaneous stuff, and I think this is the last slide. Just going over with this season. So the boss powers were nuked into oblivion, but some of them should still be okay. But you know, every build is not going to be dominated by the Andariel's power, thank God. But it kind of would have been kind of cool. So they changed some of the experience so that, you know, the between levels in 1 to 25, it's going to be faster because it was really slow in the PTR. They lowered the spectral ash cost on upgrading some of the season powers, so it's not going to be too terrible. Like you can get that Alex Talon sparking damage power pretty easily and then level it up pretty fast, get a lot of damage out of it. They made it so that you can upgrade Paragon glyphs easier. You can do tiers that are say you have a level 90 glyph, you can now actually upgrade your glyphs. If you're running T80s, T70s, it's just going to have a pretty low chance, but you can do it. We'll see how that goes. And in the PTR, the pits were very difficult. They created crazy scaling. But so they've adjusted the monster health so that it's harder than last season, but it's not as hard as the PTR. And that's all I got, folks. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm personally I have off all next week. I'm working on all my build guides over the season. You can check it out on Mobalytics. If they say season 8, they're in the process of being updated, and some of them are done, etc., etc. But I'm looking forward to leveling with. I'm either going to level with that Spark build with the Talon's power, or I'm going to level with just Blizzard. We'll see. And then I really want to play. I kind of want to play Chain Lightning, or I want to play Ice Shards and Blizzard. Those are sort of the 3 builds I want to play. I want to play the on-hit Chain Lightning with Azurewrath. I want to play Ice Shards and I got to play Ice Shards. I got to like fine tune it and see what I can do with it and make it not shit. And then I want to see how decent Blizzard is. But all right, thanks for stopping by, guys.